Hello, everyone. Here we are back again with another episode of the Student World Spotlight. Today, a very special one. We're putting on the spotlight the third best university in Canada, University of Waterloo. And we have lots of things that we want to share with you guys here. So we have here Maha as well joining us today. So happy to see you guys here. Already 113 people watching us. Ooh, nice, guys. Welcome, welcome. I always like to ask, where are you watching us from? So please go ahead and put there the city or the country that you're watching us. So we show our amazing guests who are already in the backstage, by the way, how diverse we are. So we have here Tessie from Mauritius. Hello, Tessie. Luciana from Bolivia. Azerbaijan as well. Who else? Kenya. Rahu here says that he's been waiting for quite some time. Sorry, mate. Who else? Merv. So many people joining us. This is so nice to see Tarum here already asking questions. Good, guys. Keep sending your questions. Ukraine joining us. Algeria, Egypt. What else? India, Jordan, Pakistan. Oh, wow. That's a lot of different places. So excited to have you all here. Looking forward. I'm assuming that we're going to get lots of traction here on the chat, but that's a great thing. We love your engagement. Before we move on, as I always ask, don't forget to give us your like to this video, to this live, if you like what you're watching, obviously. If you don't like what you're watching, it's fine. You can give thumbs down. Any kind of feedback that can help us here at the Student World know if we're in the right path, all right? Because remember, our goal here is to help you find the right destination for you abroad. Very, very nice, guys. So let's see if I'm forgetting anything before we move on. So yeah, don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to this channel. As you know, the Student World has these two live shows weekly here. On Tuesdays, the Spotlight, and on Wednesdays, we have the Prime Choice. It's super cool as well. Tomorrow with business schools in Europe. So don't forget to subscribe here on our YouTube channel so you get notified every time we go live. What else? And yes, send your questions here on the chat. We have prepared some subjects that we'll be approaching just to serve as a kind of a north to our conversation here. As you are getting familiar with our lives here, it's a very informal chat that we have with the university reps. We don't like those boring long presentations. No, this you can watch in other places. This is about to be fun, all right, informative, a good way for you to learn everything you need to study abroad, plus get to know a really nice university. All right. Okay, cool, guys. So yeah, as we welcome more people, already 162 people joining us. I think this is some kind of a record. Ooh. Indonesia joining us. Hello from Brazil. Hello, Helen. Who else here? Ali, Merv from Turkey. What else? Adnan, Tunis. So many people. So happy, guys. All right, then. So let me start here with already 155 likes on YouTube. Guys, you're amazing. Thank you so much. Let's try to get to the 200 mark today. I'll be super happy. All right. Okay, then. So as I mentioned before, like today we're putting on the spotlight our guest, the University of Waterloo. So my first question to you all is, what do you know about University of Waterloo? So can you please put it here on the chat? What do you know of? If you have heard about it, the university, or what attracted you the most when you received our email talking about this university? Could you put it here? We would love to hear what you if you heard of Waterloo, and what are the things that you heard that you liked, that attracted you. What else? Yeah. Okay. So before we start, let's take a look at where University of Waterloo is actually located in Canada, because as you know, Canada is a huge country, right? So we have province from the west coast all the way to the east coast. So let's put it here let's put a print screen that we took here on the screen to show you guys exactly where University of Waterloo is located. By the way, so sorry for the Portuguese text there. For the folks in Brazil, they'll be able to read. But anyway, that red dot over there, that's where University of Waterloo is located. They are a 1.5 hour drive from Toronto, according to Google, but our guest will be able to talk more about it. But yeah, so let's take this out here, please. And yeah, now let's take a look, guys, at the video. We got it from University of Waterloo YouTube channel, so you can start having a feeling of what their campus look like and how amazing they are.
We are the University of Waterloo, and we are built for change. We are researchers united across disciplines and entrepreneurs advancing innovations. We are students working together to challenge the status quo, where leaders connect to the best and brightest talent. We are a global community who drive meaningful, sustainable, economic and social solutions. Through the power of partnership, we unlock new possibilities to transform ideas to inventions, curiosity to action, and imagination to impact. We don't fear the unknown. We thrive on opportunity to create, explore, and push boundaries. We are the University of Waterloo, where collaboration drives the greatest impact. Let's build the future together.
The university where you can blend experience into your degree. They are very famous for their hands-on learning. Here are some rankings just for you to have an idea how great this university is. They have been ranked the #1 university in Canada for connecting students with employers, with companies. Also ranked #1 in Canada for, as I mentioned, hands-on experiential learning. Ranked #2 in Canada for graduate employability. Also ranked the second most innovative university in Canada and the third best overall. So here to talk with us about this amazing university, please guys welcome to the stage here 3 of our amazing representatives here, Kathleen, Tamara, and Shannon, please. Hello, everyone. All good?
Hello.
Hi, Carlos. Thanks
Great
for
to
having
see
us.
you.
So happy to have you to have you guys here. We have over 184 people watching us, which is a kind of a big deal for us because usually we get like 50, 60, 70, you know. But today 184 and growing. This is a kind of a big deal. So, you know, there's a lot of expectation out there, but let's have some fun here. All right. So maybe we can start by let me give you guys the opportunity to introduce yourself, tell a little bit about you, what you do for the university. And yeah, so maybe we can start this one with you, Kathleen.
Awesome. Thanks so much. So yeah, I'm Caitlin Derecker, and I'm the recruitment coordinator in the Faculty of Science at the University of Waterloo. I actually graduated from Waterloo about 6 years ago now, and I've been working at Waterloo ever since. So obviously, I really do love the community. I love everything that it has to offer, and it's a great school with a lot of different programs. So I'm very excited to be here today to share with you some more information about Waterloo and hopefully answer some questions that you might have.
Awesome. Shannon, you're also an alumni yourself, right?
I am. So I graduated in psychology and fine arts. I got my Bachelor of Arts. And like Caitlin, I didn't end up leaving. I'm the international recruitment specialist at the University of Waterloo, but I've worked in admissions and our student success office. And it's great to see in the chat, everyone. It sounds like they're excited to learn more about Waterloo. And I think all of us here as grads love to talk about it because we have lived it for many years of our lives.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is so nice. Every time we have someone that has experience already what it's like to study there, because all these folks here, they're dying to know more about what the real experience is like. But we have someone that has experienced this right now as we speak. Isn't that right, Tamara?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm currently studying in kinesiology right now, doing my master's program, but I also did my undergraduate degree still in kinesiology at Waterloo. So now this has been several years that I've still been around campus as a student.
Awesome, cool. All right then, guys. So as I mentioned to you here, we have prepared kind of some topics, initial topics that we're gonna start covering to give you guys a broad overview of the university. But then I do encourage you guys to send your questions here. The cool thing about this live is that for the next hour or so, Caitlin, Shanna, Tamara, they will be here and they will be answering all of your questions. So make it as personalized as possible. Tell us about your situation, your particular things that you're planning on studying, tell everything that it's about you. Okay, let me be your voice for the next hour. So I'll ask all of your questions here as you put it. All right. So okay, so let's start talking about maybe Shannon. Let's talk about the programs and the faculties from Waterloo, because something I'm not gonna ask like, oh, what's the programs offers and all that, because usually universities offer like 300 different programs, right? But I wanted like you to give like a broad overview of the programs offer, and to maybe if you could highlight like what's the fields that Waterloo is really strong at.
Mm-hmm. So like you mentioned, University of Waterloo, we have over 100 programs, so tons that you can study. The faculties that we have that host all of those programs are arts, environment, engineering, health, math, and science. So lots of different things that you can study. And we do things a little bit differently at the University of Waterloo too as well, because we do offer 20 different business programs, but we integrate those into all of the other faculties. So when you're studying business, you get that foundation, but you have another area of specialization. So you can really get those niche jobs where you need a business background, but have background in something else, or you can veer off into many different careers from that too. And like you mentioned, we are all about giving that experience too. So lots of flexibility to kind of combine business with things. You can combine majors in a lot of different ways for a lot of our different programs. So there is that flexibility. If you like multiple things, you can add things to your degree that way. And then something you can also add to your degree is entrepreneurship. So the University of Waterloo is really known for innovation, entrepreneurship, and you can do that either as a specialization or as an option. But you can also, if you have an idea, we have lots of resources on campus to help you start your idea. So we have pitch contests where you can get money, there's workshops, and we're part of the Silicon Valley of the North. So there is lots of opportunities for that too.
Yeah, absolutely. I love this spirit of entrepreneurship that you guys, the whole ecosystem actually. I always do a little bit of a research before we interview our guests here. And I also found that you guys are launching in 2023 an innovation arena alongside with Velocity, I think, which is a huge incubator in North America. So that's pretty cool. By the way, guys, this is something that there is a video about it, this innovation arena that's coming up. It's also nice. But yeah, if you can mention anything about the actually, let's get this a little bit in later on. Also, I was also looking here at my my notes that the program that you study, Shannon, psychologist, is actually ranked top 5 in Canada. Pretty good one.
Yeah, and it's so hard to say one thing that we specialize in because so many of our programs have so many great professors and research across the board for all of them. So while we might be more known for things like mathematics, engineering worldwide, really in all of our faculties, like in our Faculty of Science, Caitlin will be able to tell you about all the research funding that we have. And we have Donna Strickland, who is, she just won a Nobel Peace Prize and she's a professor on campus too. So across everything that you can study, you're gonna find great programs that you can do.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, guys, if you do a little bit of research on the university as well, you will see that I have here the whole list. Like there are lots of majors, lots of programs that are like top ranked. So regardless of what you choose, you can be sure that you'll be getting a pretty pretty good degree. But the other thing I wanted to approach, which when I was reading, I found it super nice. Because not every university do this. We welcome many universities from across the world here, but which is like the fact that the possibility that through adding minors, you can kind of personalize your degree, right? So you can make it your experience, your own, which I find it super interesting because, for example, I did international relations as a major, but I added like the marketing and the business minors that changed completely the essence of the program itself. It was more like business focused rather than like going diplomacy and stuff like that. So I was pretty happy, and I saw that you guys like offer. Can you talk a little bit more about what are the possibilities that students have here in personalizing their experience there?
Yeah, so I can talk a little bit more about that. I know for me, so my degree, I did a Bachelor of Arts. I ended up majoring in psychology and fine art. I planned on going into English, and then I found all of these other courses that I love. And in a lot of our programs, you don't need to declare your major until the end of your first year. So you do have that opportunity to kind of play around and see what you like, and then combine them in different ways. Typically, a major is 20 courses, and then you have those other half of your courses, whether you want to add a minor or do different electives. We do have some programs that are more structured, like engineering, it's leading professional designation. So a lot of your courses are really mapped out for you, and you might have room for if you want to do an entrepreneurship option attached to it or something like that. So depending on your program will kind of depend what those are, but you do have lots of flexibility to do that.
Yeah. And Kathleen, let me bring you here to this chat as well, because the other thing that really impressed me was the fact that you guys are really, that you imply this hands-on or experiential learning to basically all the things that you teach students there. But can you like give all the folks here in the audience like examples of how that is done in the daily basis of their programs?
Of course. Yeah. So that's one thing that we really like to pride ourselves on, is making sure that you're not just learning in the classroom, but that you actually get to try that and you actually get to have this hands-on experience. So for students, it's a great way to have both styles of learning and to integrate those together. So for instance, in science, you'll have lecture-based classes. So that's where you would be sitting down with a professor at the front of the classroom, giving you a lecture and further information. And you would then take that knowledge that you learned in the lecture and apply that into a lab. So this, for instance, in chemistry, you'll get over 200 hours of lab time. You'll see our earth and environmental science students often out in the creeks that we have that run through campus, or the small lake that we have, actually doing real world things and applying the knowledge that they've learned in a different way. So that's one thing that we really pride ourselves on. And you'll see that throughout a lot of our different programs, whether it's science or elsewhere in our different faculties.
Cool. Oh, and Tamara, from the perspective of a student, what can you say? Like, was that one of the reasons why it attracted you to choose University of Waterloo, like this whole different approach, unique approach, and like, you know, experiencing, real world things, and you know, the practical things, the hands-on aspect of the learning.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that for me, that was one of the main reasons that I was really interested in Waterloo, was that hands-on aspect. I think that getting that opportunity to actually try out the different things that you're learning in your lectures and being able to apply that to a real world setting really helps with your own learning, and can also just help with some of that preparation for your future careers if you're already getting to experience some of those practical applications to what you're learning. And I think for me, in at least the program that I was studying in, there were lots of labs and other practical hands-on opportunities right from first year, which really helped to solidify some of the different topics that I was learning.
Yeah, that is definitely pretty nice. And now I wanted to talk to you also about like the whole student experience, right? Because this is so much more than just classrooms things, right? There's a whole world, and we've seen on the videos that the campus, some of the activities that shows that the students were doing outside the classroom. Can you share a little bit about like this kind of interactions that the university provides the students with, or the whole outside of the classroom experience. How is that for you?
Yeah, I think that the outside of classroom experience, I would say, is a really big picture of the university experience as a whole. And I think that it's some of those community experiences that you can build into your time as a student that really will make that difference. For me at Waterloo, there's over 250 different student clubs that we have. So everything from photography to anime to hip hop to cheese to Quidditch, all types of clubs for all types of student interests, and a great way for students to meet other people that share some of those similar passions or hobbies or interests, which is really fun. We've got lots of different programs through athletics, different intramural sports and clubs and activities where you can learn how to dance or skate or do martial arts or those kinds of things. So lots of ways to stay active as well. And I think that by getting involved with all of these different types of activities or volunteer positions or part-time jobs on campus really allows you to get to know the community, to make new friends, to meet new people, and to have that really positive overall experience. Even outside of your classes, you're still being able to make some of those connections between what you're learning and how you can use that in the world around you.
Yeah. And guys, the other thing I wanted to ask is that like for me, like one of the great things about like studying in countries like Canada and US and many others is the multicultural experience that you can have, because you look to your right and you have a friend from Europe, the other one like someone from Nigeria, Kenya, India, like so many different, like in your case, Tamara, can you share a little bit like in your classrooms, like where are the people that you made friends with from, or like did they come from all over the world, and who are your best friends, by the way?
Yeah, some of the best friends that I personally made were some of the students I live with in residence. And you're right, there's students from around the world, there's students from around the country, coast to coast to coast. I got to meet students from India, I got to meet students from Barbados, I got to meet students from China, from Bangladesh, Jamaica. Like I think we've got 20% of our student body is our international students. So from hundreds of countries around the world, it's such a diverse network of people that you wouldn't otherwise necessarily meet if you were not immersed in that kind of diverse environment. And I think with all the different cultural clubs and activities, and we have like multicultural showcase nights and things like that, so many cool ways to experience people from new cultures and try new foods and new activities and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I can imagine. All right, guys. So now I want to talk to you, Caitlin, about something, a different thing that I also learned when I was studying you guys, which is all the support that you actually give students when building their career. Like Shannon has mentioned here, like how the whole entrepreneurial ecosystem and spirit that you guys have there. But I wanted to go over and ask about some particularities. Which is, by the way, the co-op program that I learned that and that I found like amazing. And I wanted to give you the chance here to explain to the students a little bit about these programs that basically, I believe, like aims to give students the professional experience as well, alongside with the whole education that they are acquiring.
Yeah, you got it. So that's our co-op program, like you mentioned. So it's actually the world's largest co-op program of its kind. So essentially what this means is you're going to have a chance to work and learn, rotating back and forth. So for a student, some programs will be co-op only, some programs will be co-op available, and some programs will be regular. So in some cases, you'll have the choice whether or not you're in a co-op program. Those students who decide to apply into a co-op program will have 4 to 6 different work terms throughout their undergraduate degree. So typically these are in 4-month blocks, or you will see sometimes where they're in 8-month blocks, and you will be working for a company. So at this time, we have something called Waterloo Works, and Waterloo Works is our large database that hosts over 7,000 different employers on it. Or you're able to go in and type in keywords. So if you're interested in health studies, or you're interested in economics, or you're interested in computer science, we'll then populate jobs that we feel like fit you best. So throughout that time, you'll then be matched with an employer, and you will be able to figure out what you like, figure out what you don't like, make some money, build your resume, and then help you secure a job once you graduate from Waterloo. Now, one thing for those students who aren't a part of a co-op program, we also have something called EDGE, which looks to mimic a co-op program. So what that is an opportunity for you to do volunteer work throughout your time as a student, and then also get these professional development courses that students would have if they were in a co-op program. So these will be things to help you develop yourself to make you ready for the workforce once you graduate. So you don't have to worry if your co-op doesn't have, or if your program doesn't have co-op, we still have awesome options for you to make sure you're ready for your fields upon graduation.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, as you guys are the number one for connecting students with employers, and there is a reason behind it. Not only this co-ops, but also the fact that you provide, if I'm not mistaken, like career fairs and help on job search and all that throughout the whole degree. That's kind of impressive. We actually, folks, we have a quick video that we want to show you about this co-op program, so you guys have a better idea of what it's like. Let's take a look.
I've always wanted to work for Microsoft. It's a brand that I grew up with, and I understand that in any workplace that I'm working at, I'm going to be using Microsoft products. I've been able to have 5 co-ops, so almost 2 full years of experience before I've even graduated. And I know my friends who have gone to other schools and didn't take the co-op program, they graduated a year before I did, but they don't have any of that experience, and they're still struggling to get into the workforce in their dream occupation or what they studied for. And I really don't think myself or any other co-op student will have any problem doing so because of the experience that we've had. Co-op is one of the best decisions I've ever made. I thought if I were to spend all the money to go to school, I would want it to be the most valuable that it could be. And co-op at Waterloo is really what I had pictured when I thought of setting myself up for success and ensuring that I had the brightest future possible.
Yeah, it's really nice. By the way, we have a question here. I wanted to ask this from Laura, Kathleen. She says, is there the co-op program basically availability for master's and PhD level students as well?
Yeah, so it's going to depend which program you end up in. So typically for a PhD, you wouldn't do a co-op necessarily because you're going to be really focused on research. So you'll already be working alongside a professor at that time and potentially already be in that workforce while you're doing your PhD. So typically that's a little bit different there. Your master's degree, again, will depend on the program that you're in. But all of these resources are still available for students. So we have an entire building called the Tatum Center, and that's where students can go to get any of this like interview help or assistance with writing your resumes or any of these job fairs that we have. We have an entire building dedicated and for students who are looking for assistance with any of these steps while you're looking at getting into the workforce. So even if your program doesn't have co-op, make sure you still use those resources at the Tatum Center because they are there to help our students and our alumni as well.
Cool. All right, guys. So yeah, now I wanted to bring back to you, Shanna, because the other things that we would like to cover here is the application process itself, right? Briefly the requirements as well. I know there's the most common answer or the beginning of answers here is it depends. But in terms of like, what can you say, like the general process? And also I would ask if you can just give some recommendation or tips in terms of applying. We always like to give information that people cannot find like on the website and so on. So things like, always start, 5 months before the actual date. So you have enough time, stuff like that. So what can you tell us generally about the application process and the requirements for bachelor's and master's level students?
Yeah, so first of all applications are done through something called the Ontario University Application Centre. And that is a centralized place that you would apply to any university in Ontario. So with that fee that you're going to pay for that, you can apply to 3 different programs with the base fee. You can additionally add more if you really want to come to Ontario and study at different places, but you could also apply to 3 different programs at Waterloo if that's the place that you know you really want to come. So that's where you're going to apply. We recommend, if you are applying to some of our more competitive programs and you really want to come to Waterloo, you might apply to others just so you have other options if you aren't admissible to one of those more competitive programs. And then when it comes to admission requirements, there's going to be a few things. On our website, you'll kind of see the specifics of each program, but in general, what you're going to need is we're going to look at your senior level courses depending what system of study that you're coming from, and depending on your program, there's going to be those specific required courses that you need. And those required courses plus your top other courses that are going to make up your admission average are used for things like our entrance scholarships. So if you have high entrance scholarships, you automatically get free scholarship money from us. So that's something good to know when you're thinking about those sorts of things. But a lot of our programs, they do have additional requirements. So one of those is the admission information form. For some programs, it's required. Others, it's optional. But I would say even if it's optional, an insider tip is to fill it out anyways, because you can also get faculty-specific scholarships just for filling that out. So taking the time to do all of those optional or recommended things are good to do too. But outside of that, you might have interviews or portfolios, or sometimes there's math contests to do that can help make your application not only more competitive, but also give you additional scholarship funding that way. And I think those are the basics, unless I'm missing something. Caitlin or Tamara, you can jump in if I forgot anything.
No, that sounds great.
And yeah, I want to bring it's a very interesting question here coming from Hakuro. Thanks, Hakuro. He's asking, like, is admission requirements lower due to the pandemic, or will it be the same level as previous years? Because we got some comments here in the chat, specifically regarding like how competitive some of the majors are. So what can you tell us about that? What can you tell Hakuro? Yeah,
so I would say overall, typically, depending again what system of study, like most of them need that minimum 80% average, just because we want to make sure that you have that strong foundation to really be successful in any programs. Some are going to be more competitive, and we try to give you a good idea on our website of that minimum level that you need to have. But again, it really depends on each year, the number of applications that we get and how strong those applications are. So we're giving you our best guess of what you need to be competitive. And we do realize that with the pandemic, there are a lot of moving parts and changing things. So if you're applying, things are changing, we recommend that you stay in contact with your admission officer who's going to be looking at your application, to stay in contact and just let them know about any changing circumstances or that sort of thing as well, so that they can take that into consideration.
Cool. All right. Yeah, so you mentioned there a couple of scholarships also, right? So we have a question here. I think it's this one coming from Chloe. Any info on student exchange programs or financial aid for students who can't afford full tuition? Is there any particular link where they can also like see the full list of scholarships they perhaps would qualify to?
Yeah, so I can give a link that lists scholarships. So we have different ones on campus. There are lots of scholarships on outside, like external Canadian websites for scholarships. Even sometimes your government has different scholarships. One good thing to know is, like, if you're in co-op, that is going to be, it's not making a little bit of money, you're making a full-time salary in the job that you're in. So like per term, anywhere from $8,000 to $18,000 you're going to be making. That can help. And then it is good to know, so when you're coming to Canada, you will get your study permit that will help you do those co-op jobs, but you can also, while you're in classes, use it to do work term studies and work part-time while you're in school too. So those are a few ways. And
Yeah, and oops. Okay. And the other thing here, I got a question asking where I'm from. I'm from Brazil, mate. Not no Canada, no neither Canada, neither U.S. Akram. But yes, so we put it here, guys, on the chat. It's scholarships and financial aid link, so you can take a look there to see all the information. And yes, what else do we have here coming up? Don't forget, guys, send your questions. We would love to address them. There are many coming in, but we're looking into them. I have another one here I wanted to direct to you. Also, what undergraduate courses are available for students such as myself who have studied mathematics, physics, and chemistry in their A levels? Not sure if you want to take this one, Kathleen.
Yeah, so there's going to be many different options. As long as you've also studied English, English is going to be a required course for many of those programs. That will set you up for success for the majority of our programs. So if one of you want to send over the link maybe to the admissions, then you can take a look through those programs as well. So that would almost get you into any faculty in terms of your A levels, including English along with that, to make sure you have rounded that out for those programs. But there'll be a link coming for you here where you'll be able to type in the program that you're interested in, where you're studying, what system you're studying, and then it'll show you all those required courses for you.
And another interesting question here regarding the co-op still, which is coming from Watson. Will we need to have a work permit to participate in a co-op?
So it depends where you're doing that co-op program. So you could go back home to do co-op. You could stay in Canada. It depends really where you want to do your co-op. If you choose to work in Canada, then yes, you would need that work permit. And we have many people on campus who will help you with that process. So don't worry, it's not something that you have to do on your own. We're here to support you throughout that process because for most students, it's going to be their first time working towards that. So we will assist you in that.
Awesome. Now we're starting to get some great questions here. Very personalized. That's the kind of questions I like, guys. Make it really what you need, the kind of information you need. Here coming from Sharma asking, could you enlighten us about the pharma-related course options at the University of Waterloo? Please pick my question. We did.
By pharma, are we assuming it's pharmacy?
I think so, but you can
Okay,
you
awesome.
can let us know here on the chat.
Yeah.
Sharma.
So pharmacy, we actually have a pharmacy program at Waterloo. It's the only co-op pharmacy program in Canada. So if you're looking at doing a pharmacy program and working while and making some money while you're studying, then this is a great option for you. The way pharmacy works is you do need 2 years on undergraduate studies before you apply into pharmacy. So for instance, at Waterloo, we recommend honor science, biology, or biomedical sciences. You would complete 2 years of either of those programs and then apply into pharmacy. Now, the really cool thing about that is if you actually do your 2 years undergrad at Waterloo, pharmacy is a 4-year program. When you graduate from pharmacy, we would give you your PharmD and we would give you your Bachelor's of Science degree. So if you do your 2 years somewhere else and come and study pharmacy at Waterloo, that's awesome. You'll graduate with your PharmD, but there's a kind of that added benefit to doing both at Waterloo.
Cool. Another question coming out here as well is again from Laura. Thanks for joining us, Laura. Here is GRE mandatory for PhD programs?
I'm definitely not an expert in PhD programs. I don't know, Shannon, if you know more about that.
I do not know about PhD programs either. However, I will pull up the link to send you the page for if you're interested in doing a PhD, and that way you can reach out to our team that focuses on that, and they can provide you more information with the different requirements.
Yep. Hilda here asking for the psychology major. We already covered that. That's actually what Shanna studied herself. It's actually in the among the top 5 in the country. So yes, they do that. See, guys, you guys can hire me because I'm already. I know. Oh, look how many things I'm learning about the university. See, if you want to go on a break, you can leave me here. I'll answer the questions. No, just
and psychology too. So I did it through our Faculty of Arts, but you can also do psychology as a Bachelor of Science, depending on what your goals are with that. And then half of your courses, all the psychology courses are the same, but then your electives would either be within the Faculty of Arts or the Faculty of Science.
Oh, this is another interesting question here coming up. Can we apply directly with the university, or is it compulsory to apply through an agency? Because in some countries, it's very common to use agencies. So, what can you tell Akron?
So students, you can apply on your own through the Ontario University Application Center, but lots of students do apply through an agency, and they'll just help you walk through the process and make sure that all your documents are being submitted and help you along the way through that. So it's kind of personal preference and whatever you're most comfortable with.
Very well. What else? Yeah. So Sharma was saying that yes, it is a pharmacy. So yeah, cool, Sharma. What else do we have coming up here? Well, before let's do a little bit break on the questions because we don't have that much time, and I wanted to cover a different topic here, which some of students are asking, which is regarding the tuition fees. So, can you give like an estimate of the average prices in terms of bachelor's? I know it depends, but anything you can share will be cool.
Yeah, most definitely. So I have seen that as a common question. So for us, for undergraduate degree tuition, it's going to start for an international student for 1 year. It's going to start at $42,000, and then will work its way up. So that would be for like an arts, environment, or health program. And then something like engineering or computer science will range more like $63,000. So that's for your full first year. The one awesome tool we do have is our student budget calculator, which I'm actually just going to post here, and we can send that over to the students as well. In this, you can go through and say what program you want to study, if you're going to live in residence, if you have any scholarship dollars coming in, if you have money through your parents or money that you've saved, if you plan on playing any sports or being a part of any clubs, those sort of things. And it will then add that all up for you in order to give you what that final number would look like. So that's a really great tool to have, and it will build sort of your budget for you there.
Cool. Nice. Guys, I got an interesting question here. If you guys have or are planning to have any majors in climate change as well.
Yes, we have actually an entire faculty of environment. So environment has a variety of different programs depending on what you might be looking for. So something like environment resources and sustainability would definitely focus in on climate change. Maybe you're more interested in geography and environmental management would be another great option for you. So in that faculty of environment, essentially that is going to be a big focus within them. If you're looking, or if you have an interest in climate change, what we can do, how we can mitigate it, and sort of what changes we can make in our lives in order to make sure that our world will be a sustainable place for many years to come.
And actually, just to add to that too, so our faculty of environment is always adding new programs based on kind of what's happening in the world. And this year, we actually do have a climate and environmental change program that is being added to the faculty. So it looks like it's exactly what they're looking for.
Nice. So Kathleen, you mentioned some of the prices for the tuition fees. Now I wanted to ask you, because not everybody, especially in the situation we're living nowadays with the pandemic, the economic crisis, everything, like not everybody has the full amount to afford this. And so I wanted to ask you, what are the other ways that these students can use it as a way to pay part of the tuition, or what tips can you give them?
For sure. So I always recommend students to apply to scholarships. That scholarship link that we sent you is just our internal Waterloo scholarships. So that's a great start. But there's also going to be a lot of external scholarships that you can apply for. I know, for instance, when I was going to school, I applied to external scholarships, and it gave me a little bit of an additional extra money. So that could be through different banks, or I know, for instance, my mom's work had a scholarship. So there really is a lot of different options out there for you. We have touched on it, but the co-op program also brings in a lot of money for students. So when you're working for those 4 months, you're getting paid a full-time job salary, essentially. So students will make anywhere from $8,000 to $18,000, or even outside of that, depending on the job that you have. So we'll see students essentially make a lot of that tuition dollars back through a co-op program, which is really awesome. You can also work part-time jobs as a student. I know I did that throughout my entire undergraduate degree. I worked for athletics, so I worked in the gyms and I worked at sporting events and sporting games. But the library and residence and food services are also going to hire a lot of students as well. So I encourage you to search for those different options because we totally understand that university can be expensive, especially for international students. So don't be afraid to apply to those scholarships and get those co-op jobs and work those part-time jobs when you're coming to Waterloo.
Cool. There is like another question here regarding the requirements for IT programs. Do you actually need to have a background in IT to study a bachelor's in IT or a master's level in IT?
So for an undergraduate degree program, you don't necessarily need a background. Like Shannon said, we are going to look at your grades first and foremost. Where it will help you though is if you do have some sort of, like, let's say if you're thinking about computer science, for instance, computer science is a very competitive program. So if you have any sort of knowledge coming in, that would be a great place to get you started. Now, it doesn't have to be a job. It doesn't have to be professional experience. It could be you're a part of a club at school or you've created something on your own time. So we're not looking for students who already have careers in these things, of course. But if you're applying to a more competitive program, it's never going to hurt to show that you have a little bit of extra interest in that area of studies. And you can express that on your additional information form.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Nabil, you also asked for you show interest in computer science and software engineering. So, there you go. Also, I just wanted to point out that you guys have been ranked the second most innovative university in Canada. Which, so if you're studying anything related to technology, this is it's quite nice. All right, moving on, guys, here, because we only have 10 minutes left, so I have to hurry here. So many questions coming up. I have to go through all of them, but so sorry, guys, if I don't have time to pick your question, but we will put the contact information for you to get in touch with them. Also, we're going to put a link here for more details as well. And anyway, but moving on, because I wanted to actually talk a little bit about what it's like to live in Waterloo, right? Because this is, as I mentioned at the beginning of the live, it's a 1.5 hours according to Google Maps, from what I saw from Toronto. But from what I saw in the videos and everything that I did on my small research, it seems to be a very nice and welcoming city to live on. I wanted to ask, but I want to start this to get your perspective, Tamara, because I think, Shannon, you are from Waterloo, right? But so you guys, I don't remember if Caitlin, you're from there as well. You are?
I am as well. Yes, born and raised.
Yeah, born and raised. So you might be a little bit biased. So let's go with someone that is not from there, and then we go over to you guys. So Tamara, what was the first impression when you got there to Waterloo?
Yeah, I actually grew up just outside of Toronto, so that hour and a half drive from the city is accurate for what my experience was. I found that Waterloo was always a very student-friendly city. There's 3 post-secondary institutions within the region of Waterloo, so around the year there's always lots of other younger people, lots of other students that are looking to experience the same city and get out and do the same types of things. Very close to campus, we've got lots of different places that students will typically hang out. So we've got Waterloo Park, which is just south of our main campus, and there's lots of green space and recreation space available. We have our uptown region, which is kind of like our downtown for the city, and that has lots of different restaurants and cafes and eateries and lots of other public spaces that people will use. In the summer, it will be a nice fun space where there will be lots of patios and outdoor dining. And then in the winter, they'll freeze it over to be an outdoor skating rink. So different ways that they'll use the space on different times of the season. And then we've got farmers markets that are very close to campus as well. So lots of different spaces just in the city itself that are very accessible. And something else that's really great is that there is a transit pass that gets included in your tuition as a student on campus. So there are buses and trains that depart right from campus, and they can take you either to different spaces in the city of Waterloo, or even there's buses and trains that will go out to Toronto or other cities like that. So if you're looking to go even further and you want to go to the city for a weekend or something like that, very easy to do as well.
Yeah. And I have, you know what, I have to say this because I'm a big fan of small cities for many different reasons, but I see myself living in a small city in the future, hopefully. But the other thing I wanted to ask is that it's, I see here there's a very young population as well, because it's over 50,000, if I'm not mistaken, university and college students. So there must be a very good vibe. And so, Tamara, I'm thankful that we're hosting this on a Tuesday and not on a Friday. So, you know, the chances of having you here increases dramatically, but thank you so much. But, oh, Kathleen, what do you like the most about living there?
Yeah, well, one thing that I really loved about the university is that we call it Ring Road, and Ring Road encompasses almost the entire university. So although we're a mid-sized university and it can seem like there's lots of buildings and that kind of stuff, Waterloo is really enclosed and encompassed in itself as the university as a whole. So it's not like you have to trek across the city to get from one class to another. You can walk anywhere on campus kind of within 10 to 15 minutes, which is really awesome. So we like to consider it that it's almost a city within a city as the university itself. And that was one thing that I really, really loved about campus, was just that feel, that really connectedness that you have with other students, because you're always kind of around those other students. And whether it's walking to your residence building with your friends or heading into class, that camaraderie is always there, which is one thing that really drew me to the university.
Yeah. And what can you guys tell us a little bit about like the living costs and so on? Because the one thing I wanted to tell you guys that are watching us here is that sometimes, you know, we don't take into account the costs that are like not tuition or not university related costs, but they're also a part of your experience abroad. And you have to take that into account, because it doesn't matter if you're spending on tuition or on accommodation or on food or whatever. Everything is coming, in theory, from the same place, which is your pocket. So the fact that when you have a very, a reputable university located in a smaller city with, more competitive living costs and general costs, this is really good, because it means that at the end of the day, you're saving money to have an amazing experience. Anyway, so what can you guys tell us a little bit about like the living costs and like, and especially compared to like places living like in downtown Toronto or cities like Vancouver and Montreal, which are nice, but are a little bit expensive?
Yeah, I actually just pulled the fees up here and I posted it in our chat there as well. So if you're looking at living on residence, it's going to range anywhere from about $4,000 per term for the fall term, depending on whether you have a single room or a double room or an apartment style room. That's going to change slightly. And then the winter term, you're looking at about $2,400 per term. On top of that, you would then add on your meal plan. The meal plans, we have 3 different levels. So those are light, average, and hearty, depending how much food you want to eat throughout your time as a student. And that's going to range from $2,600 to $3,000. Now, the one really nice thing about Waterloo is that our student housing, there's no shortage. So it's not like once you move out of residence, you're worried that you're going to find a place. Waterloo is booming with high-rise buildings that are being built with student housing. So after you move, typically students will move off residence in their first year. There's many different options for you, whether you want to live in a house with a group of students, whether you want to live in a brand new high-rise building with granite countertops and rooftop patios and movie theaters in them. There's lots of different options for students. Our living costs are going to be cheaper than Toronto, just because due to the nature of the space that we have and the more options that are available for students.
Cool. We actually have a quick video that we want to show you about the living in Waterloo. Let's take a look. Nice. Yeah, it does look a pretty lovely city. Yeah, so guys, we do. I'm gonna ask my teammates to put it here on the chat some links requiring the English language requirements. So because I saw here that we do have some questions coming up regarding the IELTS and anyway TOEFL and things. So we'll put it here. Let me address some final questions because we do have to go. We have 4 minutes left, so I'll have to handpick some questions here. Starting with Atia here. Do you provide masters in IP law? Not sure what IP means. Hopefully you guys do. If not, Atia, could you please put it here? What do you mean by that? And are you able also to do part-time programs? Is that?
Yeah. I assume IP, they mean intellectual property law would be my guess. Again, I am most definitely not an expert in areas of master's. Shan, I don't know if you can dive deeper into that one, but we can definitely get you connected with somebody who can chat to you more about those master's programs. One doesn't jump off the top of my head that I can think of, but I'm sure there's a way that we can incorporate that or have a way to study that, so we can connect you with somebody for sure.
Cool. Yeah. Again, guys, we're going to put the contact information so you'll be able to get in touch with them. Then we have another question here. Another student asking about the architecture graduate programs. If you can just tell briefly, help Deep Pakshi, I think.
Yeah. Do you want to chat about this, Shannon, or do you want me to take that one?
I can talk more about the undergraduate programs and when you get into that. So we do have a School of Architecture that you study that is a co-op program as well in our Faculty of Engineering. And taking that at Waterloo, it kind of fast tracks you to getting your qualifications to be that full-time architect. Again, graduate study wise, I don't know if Caitlin, do you know more about that or?
So it's a 2-year degree program for students who have obviously done an undergrad in architecture. So students who are looking at that, you're going to obviously already have completed a lot of the required courses for your professional accreditation in order to apply into that studies. So into more details than that, they're looking for degree requirements of a minimum of 3 years and up to a maximum of 6 terms. And yeah, I'm just kind of reading here from the website. They're going to prepare you to write your thesis, and you're expected to complete your degree, like I said, in a maximum of 6 academic terms. So most students will do their undergraduate degree and then go directly into that master's degree. So we do have our undergrad in architecture, which you could then lead you directly into your master's in architecture.
Yep. And the final question, guys, I wanted to address is this one that I put it here coming from Ellen, which is something that is, becoming more and more important nowadays, especially with everybody having to face this whole pandemic and the social distancing and all that. Psychological support, it has become super important. So I wanted to close today's live with this great question coming from Ellen. Thanks so much, Ellen, for sending this. So please, if any of you who wants to address this.
Yeah. You want to take that one, Shannon, or you want me to grab it?
I can take that. So yes, on campus, we do have a whole department for campus wellness. That includes things like counselors if you need that. We also have student supports. If you want to talk to students, the program is called Mates and you can meet with them. There's also things like Good to Talk where you can call in anonymously and different things like that. And then depending on what you need that support with, maybe it's around your classes and you can go to our student success office and talk with the peer success coach that can help you maybe with your time management or coming up with some strategies to kind of work on getting you grounded and into a good place in university, because there are definitely a lot, not only just with the pandemic, but coming to a new country and figuring out a new program and how to study in university, it can be a lot. So we even have international advisors that you can meet with at any time to help you with anything that you need on campus. So typically when you come into orientation into our school, we'll kind of connect you and talk about those different things. And again, anytime you need to reach out, everyone is happy to direct you to the right services that you would need.
Awesome. All right, guys. So yeah, as Laura said, you're so sweet. Thank you so much for joining us here today. Tamara, it was really nice meeting you. I hope that you continue to have this amazing experience, as I'm sure you're having. Thank you so much for joining us here today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
Cool. And Kathleen and Chanel, thank you so much as well to, share all of this about this incredible university. I have to say, I wanted to go as well, but I can't, unfortunately. But I'm hoping that that's not the case with all of those over 108 people that are watching us here today. So, yeah, thank you so much for introducing this amazing university to us, to, dedicating this 1 hour to talk about Waterloo. I hope you have enjoyed.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Nice to meet all of you, and feel free to reach out if you have any further questions.
Yes, thanks so much. It was great talking to everyone here today.
Absolutely. And again, guys, as Kathleen said, this is the email to get in touch with them. So ask us at uwaterloo.ca. So I'm pretty sure you have more questions here, because unfortunately I was not able to address all of them, because we're already reaching now. Well, we're over our time already. But I do encourage you to go ahead and get in touch with them. But let me first say goodbye here to my guests. Bye, guys. I'll see you on the backstage. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Bye-bye. And yes, and for those of you that stayed with us until now, over 108 people, Laura, thank you so much for joining and participating. And we hope that we could help you a little bit. Chris as well. I cannot mention everybody, but yeah, so many people joining us here today. Minsum Kin, thank you. Medell, Sunday, everybody. So it was really nice to have you here. Again, this Lives from the Student World is a great opportunity for you to get in touch with the people, the right people from the university. I always like to use this metaphor, which is like, when you have a problem with your internet and then you call them and then they keep transferring you to a different department because it's never the right person. This doesn't happen here, because the people that we bring here to our lives is the people that can help you exactly with what you need, right? So thank you so much. And what do we have here? Experience Waterloo also works for YouTube. Yeah. So yeah, guys, so really happy to have you here. Don't forget to subscribe. Join our community on Instagram as well, at The Student World. If you like the videos, which were pretty cool, in my opinion, from University of Waterloo, you can also see more things from them. They have lots of videos. They have videos about a particular program. So access their YouTube channel. And subscribe to their YouTube channel, but also subscribe to the Student World channel. All right. Okay, then. So thanks a lot. I'll see you guys next week with another episode of the Student World Spotlight. The Student World, whatever you want to study, we know how to get you there.